Hey guys, so today we're going to do a long-term review of the Full Focus Planner by Michael Hyatt, do an unboxing of a new planner, and talk about some alternatives. So I have been journaling for about 10 years. These are some of the journals that I've used. If you may have noticed also that we're in bed. I explained that in a previous video, and if your name happens to be Michael Hyatt, get in contact with me because I would love to have you on my show. So what ended up attracting me to Michael Hyatt's work, and I found out about him through this journal, and then I've listened to his podcast since then, and then I also just did a review of his Free to Focus book, which just came out, and I read all his emails that he sends me annoyingly every day that you kind of have to sign up for his email list to buy his book. But I will say what's so nice about this book, and what's so nice about having a planner in general, is a planner really allows two things, or maybe three things. It allows self-reflection, so you can write in it like a diary and kind of reflect upon what it is that you're doing. It allows you to stay organized, because if you're someone like me, especially if you're an entrepreneur or if you're a business person, you just have a lot of things happening. And then it allows you also finally to be proactive in what it is that you're trying to accomplish and identifying your goals and then the actions that you need to take towards them. And what really attracted to me about the Full Focus Planner was that it combined all three of those things into one little form factor. So each book lasts you 3 months, which is, I guess, a decent amount of time. I will have to say that it took me 3 months and 3 weeks to finish this, because there were 3 weeks that I didn't do it, and I'm okay with that. Those were times when I was traveling, like I went to LA, or times when I really, I was focused on one single task every single day, and so I didn't really need to do these, and I didn't feel the need to do them, but I will say that I was less productive when I didn't do them. What I like about this book is that there's a bunch of different sections, and everything has its own little place. In previous books that I had done, I always liked that I got to write in it whatever I wanted, and then as I've grown older, like this is a book from 10 years ago, and I really kind of writing however I please, and I'm drawing a lot, but as I've grown older, I've grown into liking things that are much more organized and have less notes in them and less writing in them, and more kind of task-based, which is kind of a little lame, but like before I was reading a lot more personally, and then I was reflecting upon them a lot, or I would write down notes where I wrote down this is literally every single thing that was ever mentioned in college. I have every artist that was ever mentioned in a class, and I have every major idea point from every class. And so for me, this is like a massive resource library that I still use all the time. I literally just used it yesterday. But my needs have evolved, and my needs for a notebook have evolved with them. So what this book does is it forces you to write down, or encourages you to write down your annual goals. Like, what is it that you want to accomplish throughout the year, and when do you want to accomplish them? Why it's significant that you do that, so you have like exactly what your goal is. So for example, my goal for this one was to just use the planner for 90 days, because I hadn't had like a proper planner for a little while, and I considered this to be a spiritual and emotional goal, where I was really learning to connect with myself and to do this, and you have to write down your key motivation, the next steps that you need to do, and your reward. So the key motivation was to be proactive in designing my life rather than just reacting to my surroundings. And the next step was using my journal daily, even when I don't feel like I should, which I guess I mostly did. And then the reward would be I will buy myself a new planner. So then you go from there. After you write down your goals for the year, you have a monthly calendar where you get to really map things out, and then you have rolling quarters where you kind of list all the tasks that you didn't accomplish last quarter and kind of put them into this book so you have something to really accomplish. And then you have an ideal week planner, which is a great exercise if you've never done. I've been doing it for 10 years still. And you write down exactly what you're doing every single moment of every day for an ideal week. Another great exercise is an ideal day. So you say, like, what is the perfect day for you? Where you wake up at this time, you go to the bathroom at this time, you eat this meal, you brush your teeth, you floss, you go to work for this amount of time, you accomplish this, you go work out. And you'll never ever have a perfect day or a perfect week, but I think that it's worth planning to do that. And then you write down, and then you have the things that you accomplish throughout the day. It has space here where I did not start mine on a Monday, so I have the first page free here, where you write down the 3 most important things that you accomplish, other tasks that you need to do, whether or not you delegate them. You have whether or not you accomplish your morning ritual, your nighttime ritual, and then any notes that you have throughout the day. And then you have like a weekly reflection at the end where you reflect upon like that week. The biggest things that I had done was I signed an apartment lease, I drafted a contract to work with a bookstore, and I worked out 4 times, which were like huge. And then I made a weekly preview where I talked about what are the things that I'm leading into next week, what are the lessons that I can learn from my last week and apply them. And that's really like the gist of this book. Towards the end, there are pages for sketching, paging for notes. So I ran out of his book. I didn't order not one on time, so I've been using that. Kind of as a planner, and then I've been using, he has sketching pages which actually have a very fine grid pattern, which I like ones that have a grid pattern, and it's just subtle enough that it's not really noticeable. It's actually really nice. You can tell that Michael Hyatt was a publisher. And then he has an index page, and then a resource to more things that he's selling you. It doesn't bother me, it's unobtrusive. I like the build quality of the book. The book is perfect bound, which I didn't like at first. I usually prefer something that's like this, it's really flimsy, but I've grown to like this. It does have a tiny amount of bend and give to it now that I've been using it for almost 4 months. And I like the pages, I like the quality. It's sewn, so that means that you can do this to it, but you have to kind of break it in to be able to do that. And the only real complaint is you have to be careful with what kind of like pen you're using. If you use like kind of a fountain pen or like a pen that has an inkwell in it, you're gonna bleed right through it, and that was really kind of a disappointment for me. But as a publisher, I understand, because if you went with a thicker cardstock, like a thicker paper, I understand that this book would be even larger, and then I wouldn't want to carry it. It'd be heavier and it'd be more expensive, and most people don't write with a fountain pen, but I don't know, that's just something to consider. Like if you're someone who really wants to write with like a definitive stroke with a pen, you're not going to be able to fully do that and utilize everything with the book. But overall, the pages are really high quality. They haven't ripped at all. I mean, look at this book compared to this book. This book has been through a lot more than this one, even though this one has traveled, 10,000 miles with me. I like these little ribbons. I like that there's 2 of them and they're different colors. I use them every day. I like this here that allows you to close it. I use that all the time. There is branding on the front. It's kind of obnoxious or whatever. I hear that there's another version that's coming out with different colors. But as a whole, Michael Hyatt, you have a customer for a long time. I love your work. I would highly recommend this to anyone who does bullet journaling or just wants to get into journaling, or like write sticky notes with what it is that they have to do throughout the day, or anything. If you're someone who has goals and ambitions in life, I would recommend this book to you. And if you're someone who, like, for a long time I hadn't been using a journal, I had actually just been using like a ream of paper that I picked up for like $1, and then I had been using a lot of organization within my phone and within my computer, and personally I find that those things do not work as well. So if you're someone who is like, I have a system and it's this app on my phone, I would advise you to go and get one of these anyway, because those apps don't really lend themselves to the reflection, like the self-reflection that this book gives you. I just find that those apps don't work as well as this planner does. So be sure to check out the book. I'll put a link in the description. You can check it out. I'm going to do an unboxing of the other book, but this video has already gotten really long, so I want to go and make that its own video. Be sure to comment and subscribe. Let me know what planner you use. If you're Michael Hyatt, please say hi. I'd love to have you on here again. I'm just saying that if you know him, send him a message to me. And I hope you have a wonderful day.